Final check on the papers for you this morning with Vicky Beeching and Michael Booker. Morning once again. You can almost time to get home, so you'll be all right this morning. But look, let's start off with the Sun, Michael. A serious story. It's looking at, well, as they say, the cops fix it for Jim, but actually West Yorkshire Police have still got, despite this report yesterday, a lot of questions to answer.
Well, that's what the Sun is saying, and that, you know, as you can see from the headline, the Sun have made up their mind as to this report that came out yesterday. They say it's a police whitewash going back decades, and there is these 5 key questions they must answer. How did vital information pass to West Yorkshire Police about Savile's abuse simply disappear, being the top one? Why were officers allowed to get so close to him despite the widespread rumours about him being a paedophile? And there's the number of other ones. It just, as Mark Williams-Thomas says, he was the journalist who did it for ITV and brought the story to the fore. He said, "Never have I read such a poor report," and it does open the door for accusations of it being a whitewash. And in the Sun's leader as well, they're saying that they must take the rest of us for complete idiots. That this report says that basically the force never put a foot wrong, or they can find no evidence of that, and that seems to be the thing. There seem to be a lot of. That's
interesting. I mean, we had the Assistant Chief Constable who's written this report live on the programme yesterday, talking to Mark White. I mean, she was quite. I mean, she did say, you know, obviously there are issues that had to be addressed, but I mean, you say quite determined that they hadn't actually done anything wrong.
I watched that actually. I thought she did a good job, but then it's also heartbreaking to hear from the victims, a couple of whom are quoted in here saying they really just don't feel like justice has been done. Especially one of this point 5 here that in Savile's autobiography actually mentioned some of this abuse. He kind of alluded to it, and even that was kind of glossed over. So I feel really sorry for the victims.
Also, that she says as well in that report that in speaking to the Sun that, you know, these things go back 6-7 decades, and, you know, memories are going as well, which doesn't seem to fit in with the other part of U-Tree when they are investigating. They are going back 7 years, so they're not doing it to themselves in that way. So I think it does open up. There is a lot more questions they need answering. From their side of it, I think they just hope it goes away with this report, but I don't think it will.
No. Let's look at the Telegraph, should we, Vicky? A demand for church schools.
This is interesting. So the Church of England's new attendance statistics have come out, and one of the things they found were that baptisms for children were increasing. Now, obviously, some of that is due to people actually just wanting, for religious reasons, to baptise their children, but there's actually a hidden reason. About 50% of church schools reserve places for church goers, and you have to have a form signed by your local priest saying that you are a regular attender. And so there's this great quote that people are getting on their knees to avoid paying school fees. And I actually grew up in a small village, and we had a local church, and people would suspiciously just turn up right when their children reached the age of schooling. And one of the best schools in our area was a C of E school, and so people knew that they had to attend just for long enough, and as soon as their child got in,
that's the thing.
they sort of disappeared.
Gets in,
I know.
The Christianity's out the window, isn't it?
So yeah, it's just.
Is it a bad thing, or is it the fact that you're getting people to go for even if it's a short amount of time? Is you know, it's dangling in front of them, so it might work.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if people are coming for the wrong reasons, it's not necessarily great, because they probably don't want to be there. And I've sat around looking at lots of people in church, kind of very bored. But then likewise, we actually had some people that came in for that reason and ended up staying, because they found that church isn't necessarily as boring as they expected. It's actually can be a great community.
Yeah. Actually, I went to a church school and had a great time. So there you go. There you go. I'm sorry, I don't want to go about it. Look, stay with us. Lots more coming up for you in just a moment, including Tesco's claim there's a wine for every reason. Bet there is. And why social media makes breaking up all that bit harder.
Dentist.
So we're looking through the papers with Vicky and with Michael. To the start, it's in a couple of the papers this morning. Fergie's excess stress, according to him, the reason for him going.
Yeah,
apparently.
well, it's an interesting one, because he's supposed to be the toughest guy in all of, well, in the whole world, really, from what you've read about him.
Though, isn't he?
Well, exactly. He's 71. He doesn't need it anymore. He doesn't really need the money, does he? He doesn't need all the stress of it all.
It's not about the money for him, though.
But
you
it's
get the sense
interesting
that it's really about the passion for
But it's
football.
come from Fabio Capello, so it might have been lost slightly in translation. But
has it?
He has. But no, still, he talks to him. He's a confidant, but he says it's because of excess stress. And if someone like Fergie feels it, then it just goes to show that anyone can feel it. Because you'd think someone like him, the way he's portrayed in the media, and it's probably our fault, looks bulletproof and wouldn't, you know, he wouldn't succumb to this. But then again, when you see the fact of him getting so angry on the field, that is a symptom of stress, isn't it? That's what it's been there all along. It's not just him being furious Fergie. he's been stressed all these years, and he wants to just go around the world with Kathy, his wife, now. And so, why not?
He's a human being. I think we do build people
exactly,
up.
yeah.
I do too. It makes me think
just
of
think that they're not fallible,
the
but we all
resignation
are.
of the Pope, actually, and this ability of people in really influential positions to actually say, I need to lay this aside. I think there's a great deal of humility in that. I think it's really respectable. I think if he came out and said that, I would have a lot of respect. I mean, he won't, but
It's
if he
too
did,
hard.
I think that would it would set the bar for other people in tough jobs to be able to step aside.
Yeah, you can't. You don't want to keep going forever, do you? What about this mom, Vicky, she's incredible. She's churning out meals for pennies.
Yeah, this is fantastic. So she's a blogger, and she lost her job and began blogging about how she was surviving living on benefits, and decided she'd do a feature on her blog where she tried to cook for her and her little son Johnny on £10 a week. So she began posting recipes. Her portions cost about 9p each, and it caught the eye of the publisher Penguin, and they're going to actually create a cookbook of all her recipes. So this is a really cool story for her. It's another good social media story. It shows that blogging really can get you proper publishing deals, but it's also a really sobering reminder that a lot of people are actually having to live on £10 a week, and that we really need to see changes in the economy so that reality comes to an end.
I don't really fancy a carrot and coriander falafel, to be honest.
Oh, I think it sounds
I, you know what, I do.
For
I really do.
Come on,
I
you're all
Some of it sounds really yummy. She's got some great curry recipes.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we should
Imagine.
we'd get her on for a cookery spot just so we can try it
What a
out.
good
I think.
idea.
Lovely. Brilliant. Now, what's this in, Michael? I'm looking at the front of the Telegraph. Here it is at the bottom.
Yeah.
Why a dog's life is not what it was.
Yeah, the old rule of thumb that 7 dog years in each calendar year is a myth, according to scientists,
Oh,
and,
really?
and it's different for every single type of dog, apparently. So they age differently depending on the breed. So a Chihuahua will age less every calendar year than a Great Dane, and Bulldogs, which have an upper life expectancy of about 10, will age 13 years each calendar year, whereas for something like a miniature Dachshund, it's 4. As I was dancing around the kitchen with my French Bulldog yesterday, listening to Pink, which I think is as near as you can get to coming out without actually being gay, as I was thinking, he's a teenager at the moment, so we've got many more years together. It's great.
I'd love to see footage of that.
I would too.
If it's available.
Can you tweet
It was a
that?
lot of fun.
Mrs. Booker.
That's what the dogs are good for.
Wow, love it. I love the things you hear on this programme. The School of Rock. Dear me, we're gonna get lots more graduands like this, apparently, Vicky.
Totally, it's brilliant. So you can now do a degree in heavy metal. Apparently it is a genuinely educational experience. You look at the genre, the history of the music, you kind of get a real theoretical understanding of heavy metal, and then you spend the final year of your course out doing practical experience, gigging. So I think it's fantastic. The Campaign for Real Education have blasted it, saying it's a joke subject. But I actually think it's probably less about what you study at college or university and more about life skills, learning how to research, learning how to do just kind of taking exams. I don't know that, I know most of my friends who are in the business world did things like, geography or philosophy, and I don't really see why heavy metal should get a bad rap.
Oh, shame. But you can get a degree in Klingon. I don't know if that's going to be any good as much
Almost
as I...
tempts you to go back to college again, doesn't it?
Rock on.
It's only 2 years as well.
It's only 2 years, yeah. We could all be
Michael,
experts.
why should we apparently all be buying bottles of wine?
Well, Tesco's have done a little survey, 20,000 people, and
Look at that.
they've managed to match wine to every conceivable food that you would actually like. So now, if you fancy a Scotch egg, you should team it with the McGuigan Cabernet Sauvignon, apparently. If you have Heinz tomato soup, Blue Nun. So Blue Nun and tomato soup on an afternoon.
There's even
Sounds
one
awful.
for
Apparently this is for...
KFC Bargain Bucket has its own wine. That's just incredible.
Apparently every meal will be a memorable experience, although if you have too much of the wine, you won't be able to remember it.
Well, we've got virtually no time, so you could be very quick about getting dumped in the digital area.
Yeah, this is research out of the University of California about what to do when you end your relationship. In the olden days, you would just maybe tear up a few photos or put them in a box.
Yeah.
But studies from this university are saying that we're bombarded with memories and pictures and images of people that we maybe want to forget. So they're just saying, let it be known that basically social media is great when you're in a relationship, but when it's over, it's actually very difficult to grieve and move on.
Oh, right.
You could just press
block.
delete.
Yeah, hit and block. That's
Delete,
what I say.
block.
Love, it's been a joy. Thank you very much indeed, both of you. Let's get a quick check on the back.